Good morning. I call this meeting of the Pinellas County School Board on June 25th, 2024 to order. We will begin with an invocation led by Reverend Sam Picard of Missio Dei Community, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Vice Chair Carol Cook and the National Anthem. Please stand and remain standing until the completion of the National Anthem. Reverend Picard, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair Hine. Thanks for the invitation, School Board Member Edmond. And thank you all for being here today. I bring you greetings from Missio Dei in the city of St. Petersburg, and I thank you all for your commitment to service on behalf of all of our faith communities. Please join me in prayer. Gracious God, you tell us that you are love. So today let us start and end with love in all that we do. Thank you for the commitment and dedication of all of the people in this room to your children, to your community. We pray that you would guide this meeting and guide each of us with your spirit of grace and care, especially for those in most need of care. We pray that we would care for the vulnerable, that we would make wise decisions to use community resources well to educate our children, that we would support our teachers and frontline staff, and that the whole community would come together for the well-being of our children, our families, and our community. We pray this trusting in your love. Amen. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say, can you see? So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red above
Please be seated. I want to clap to that. Also, that's our choir of faculty and staff, and just really remarkable talent both in our students and in our faculty and staff. I love that. I love that. We will now share a video celebrating our substitute teachers. Let's take a look.
Congratulations, and even better than congratulations, thank you. Each and every day, your commitment to our children in our schools is evident. And so I wanted to say thank you for that.
I believe that it is really a wonderful event where you give the recognition to those substitute teachers who go beyond and who are actually, supportive in every way possible.
The best representing our sites across the district, filling over 72,000 absences and vacancies this year. Give yourself an answer that. Because of you, staff that were sick could get the rest they needed to recover. And because of you, staff could go to the grand graduations of their own children. And because of you, students had someone in the classroom that cared about them and about making their learning continue.
I just love teaching, and I love being part of the kids and the community, and when they see me and they know me and they greet me with hugs and high fives and just watching them grow and succeed.
wonderful. They come over, they grab your legs and hug you. That is so heartwarming when you see that and when you feel that warmth that they wish to share. And they all want to learn, and they just need the motivation and the recognition and the respect that they deserve. So it's a great opportunity to interact with them.
We want to thank you for that. The positive impact that you are making on our students and the future, we are forever grateful. And we just, once again, we want to thank you all so much for being here.
That's really wonderful. You know, I have two neighbors who are substitute teachers, and they absolutely love it. And I love hearing their stories from inside the classroom and schools. And if you want to be a substitute teacher, I encourage you to do that. Please contact us. Don't forget, you get your summers off. There's winter break, Thanksgiving break, spring break. So we would love to have you be a substitute teacher in our schools. It makes a difference. Adoption of the agenda. Mr. Hendrick, are there any amendments to the agenda?
There are two amendments, Madam Chair, that were posted last week for the public and the board. One is item 7.41, request approval of the administrative appointment of the principal of Fugate Elementary School, and 7.42, request approval of the administrative appointment for the principal at Sawgrass Lake Elementary School.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any other amendments to the agenda? Board members? No? Thank you. As board chair, I find good cause to amend the agenda as described by Superintendent Hendrick. May I have a motion to adopt the agenda as amended?
Motion.
Motion from Mrs. Long and a second from Mrs. Kane. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 7-0. I recognize that I passed introduction of our community organizations and representatives, so we'll go back to that. Our Public Affairs Officer, Isabel Mascarenas.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, Mr. Hendrick, and staff. It is my pleasure to introduce the following representatives of community and professional organizations. Representing the Pinellas Educational Support Professionals Association, Nellie Heñez, President. From the Pinellas Classroom Teachers Association, Jamie Beck. Representing the North Pinellas League of Women Voters, Getta Finney and Stephen Finney. From the Pinellas Arts for a Complete Education Coalition, Maria Cantonis. Members of the media in attendance, from the Tampa Bay Times, Jeff Solachek. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 4, special order agenda. We don't have a special order agenda today, so we'll go to item 5, public comments on agenda items. Mrs. Hauk, do we have any speakers?
No, Madam Chair, there are no speakers for agenda items.
Thank you. We do not have any unfinished business today. Item 7, our consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move approval of the consent agenda.
Motion from Mrs. Cook and a second from Mrs. Meyer. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 7-0. Onto our non-consent agenda today, we'll start with item 8.1, request approval of the State of Florida Voluntary Pre-Kindergarten Education Program statewide provider contract with the Early Learning Coalition of Pinellas County. May I have a motion to approve this item? Motion from Mrs. Edmond and a second from Mrs. Long. Mr. Hendrick, would you please introduce this item?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The expansion of our early literacy and early childhood programs has been a priority of the board for a number of years, and as you see in this agenda item, has increased our VPK seats from just a little over 300 in 2007 to now over 2,500 today. And so Jennifer Meckler, our Director of Early Childhood Education, is here to talk about this agreement with the Early Learning Coalition and some details about our work in this space. Ms. Meckler.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Mr. Hendrick and staff, I'm pleased to be here today to seek your approval for our annual agreement between Pinellas County Schools and the Early Learning Coalition of Pinellas. As you are aware, this agreement is a recurring collaboration that allows us to offer voluntary pre-kindergarten programs within our schools. Additionally, it allows us to receive reimbursement from the coalition for the enrolled students. While the core of the agreement remains consistent with previous years, The program requirements for lead VPK instructors focusing on early literacy will now offer or provide a 90-day grace period for new hires. Our early childhood department works continuously with VPK staff to ensure that they not only meet program requirements, but also engage in professional learning related to early literacy, often through one of the 2 micro-credentials offered by the University of Florida Lassiter Center. I would also like to highlight a few successes of VPK. For the second year, we've implemented FAST, so the Florida Assessment for Student Thinking, Early Literacy Assessment in VPK. This year, we saw our proficiency grow from 63% proficient in PM1 to 85% proficient in PM3. Likewise, our class observation scores have increased across all domains, with our most significant increase under the instructional support domain. We look forward to seeing the impact this work has on our kindergarten readiness rates for the upcoming year. Next year, we will continue to offer free full-day attendance in VPK and pre-K3 to our full-time staff at any of our elementary school sites. 223 staff members took advantage of this benefit last year. Additionally, we will continue to provide free full-day VPK at each elementary school site for students whose families qualify for free or reduced lunch. This is made possible through our collaboration with Title I. 1,080 families qualified for this last year, with multiple students at each school site across the district. In closing, I'd like to thank the board and Mr. Hendrick for your steadfast support of early childhood programmings and for your continued support and investment in the education of our district's youngest learners.
Thank you. Board members, are there any comments? Mrs. Edmond?
Thank you, Mrs. Meckler, and your team, as well as Superintendent Hendrick and all of those who have worked hard to bring the VPK program expansion to fruition. I think it's important to highlight the data as it relates to Pinellas County Schools pre-K opportunities. And as you mentioned, our students are performing well when they have access to high-quality early education. So thank you and your team.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Then we have a motion on the floor to approve item 8.1. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes 7-0. Item 8.2, request approval of the State of Florida Readiness Contract with the Early Learning Coalition of Pinellas County. May I have a motion to approve this item?
Second.
I have a motion from Mrs. Edmond and a second from Mrs. Long. Mr. Hendrick, would you please
Yes, thank
introduce
you,
this
Madam
item?
Chair. Unlike the VPK portion where we receive funds back in the form of a voucher, any child care offered or early childhood education before the VPK years requires either tuition, unless the student has disabilities and the state pays for that. So the expansion of our employee child care program is related to this item. I don't want to steal any more of her thunder. So Mrs. Meckler is back up to explain this agreement. Ms. Meckler.
Good morning again. I'm excited to continue to be here this morning to share an update on our new employee child care initiative. Last February, when I presented to the board at workshop, we were just getting started on this project. Since then, we've onboarded staff, embarked on updating the facility to meet local licensing requirements, and dug into planning for our new youngest learners, ages 1, 2, and 3 years old. The excitement around this initiative is far beyond my department and Pinellas County Schools. We've been contacted by other schools and organizations both within Florida and beyond. Today, I hope to secure another opportunity for this program with your approval of a new agreement between Pinellas County Schools and the Early Learning Coalition of Pinellas to contract as a school readiness provider for the upcoming school year at this site. The School Readiness Program is funded primarily by the Federal Child Care and Development Fund Block Grant. The Florida Department of Education's Division of Early Learning oversees this at the state level and partners with early learning coalitions statewide for implementation. The School Readiness Program provides scholarships to families in need of high-quality childcare for young children ages birth to 12 years old. School readiness funds offset a portion of the child care costs based on a family's income and risk factors. As you may recall, we work closely with the Early Learning Coalition of Pinellas through our voluntary pre-kindergarten program. Contracting for school readiness will strengthen our established partnership and increase the district's ability to support our new youngest learners at the employee child care site. As a licensed school readiness provider, we will be able to access continuing education programs through the Early Learning Coalition and scholarships through the Juvenile Welfare Board for those staff members. It's hard to believe that the opening of this program is just a little over a month away. The facility updates are well underway, and initial invitations were shared with employees prior to the end of the 23-24 school year. We will continue to work closely with the Pinellas County Licensing Board to meet all licensing regulations for our programming opening the week of July 29th. We look forward to you coming to visit us soon.
Board members, any discussion? Mrs. Edmond?
Thank you again, you and your team. You just highlighted the quick turnaround of this project or initiative. And as it relates to being innovative, proactive, and employee-focused, this is another great step in the right direction from Pinellas County Schools. So thank you.
I just want to mention as well, as we look at the investment in early learning, since we're talking about early learning overall, over the last decade, both from the state and from our school board, we can look also directly at our successes when it comes to as far as graduation rate, third grade reading. We're going to talk about student success in our workshop today, and there's no doubt that it's tied to that investment in early learning. But I want to thank you and your team, Mrs. Meckler, as well as Mr. Feeney and his team in our elementary education, as well as the Pinellas Education Foundation and all of those who work with us and have invested research, time, energy in that early learning area the last decade or so. So thank you so much. Any other comments? Okay, I think we're ready to vote. We have a motion on the floor to approve item 8.2. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 7-0. New business, items introduced by the superintendent. Mr. Hendrick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a few items today. Of course, you just mentioned we have a workshop coming up. We will talk about student achievement, our first look at the 24-25 school year budget, and several other topics. We're looking forward to that later this afternoon. Want to celebrate 5 students who recently won National Scholastic Art Awards. The National Scholastic Art and Writing Awards competition is the nation's longest-running, most prestigious scholarship program for artists and writers in grades 7 through 12. The student artworks were selected from thousands of works throughout the United States and Canada, and our referendum helps to fund the student entries into this program. This year, unfortunately, not due to our error, but in the national competition, because they just awarded these awards literally last week, they're not doing the normal presentation of award winners at Carnegie Hall this year. But nonetheless, we will be celebrating our gold medal winner, Dizana Rolick, a 10th grade student from Eastlake High School, for her ceramic and glass artwork titled Suppression of Emotions, and 4 other students who won silver medals in the competition. And we'll see those students a little bit later in the school year. Summer Bridge wraps up this week, our traditional Summer Bridge program on Thursday. Thousands and thousands of students have had successful 4-week runs here since school has been out. And most of our camps, our summer camps, will begin the week of July 8th. The district received thousands and thousands of student applications for camps this year. And although some options are now sold out, we do have limited seats available for the career exploration, civics, history, science, and mural making camps. So check those out on the website. You can apply and still get in before the end of the week. Summertime is a time for hiring as well, and we continue to do well with teacher vacancies and all of our support staff vacancies and getting individuals onboarded. And I want to mention that today and tomorrow we have bus driver job fairs going on. Although we did very, very well with bus drivers this year, you can always have more. And so we're looking forward to having more bus drivers join us. We have a teacher information fair tomorrow on June 26th. And as you saw earlier, our substitute teachers, we have opportunities every month for substitutes to join us. And so you can check out these vacancies and many more on our website. You heard about our VPK programs. Also wanted to let the public know if your child's getting ready for kindergarten. We are on our 100-day countdown to kindergarten. It started, I believe, May 1st or 2nd, and we're about halfway there. You can find out a different activity to do every day with your child as they get ready for kindergarten at pcsb.org/kg to get ready for the upcoming school year. And speaking of getting ready for the upcoming school year, it's never too early to think about our next Listen and Learn session, which is only about a month away. Looking forward to that one at Oak Grove Middle School on July 23rd. You can join us live or in person. We'll have a typical Q&A with the board members that attend, myself, as well as an opportunity for the public to give us input. And one of the topics we'll be looking for input on this year as we do the Listen and Learns is the upcoming legislation that requires a change in school start times. And so we'll be asking the public about the different options with that. And last but not least, as I do at every meeting, I want to honor one of our employees for demonstrating our core values. And this meeting's honoree is Mrs. Susan Hartman, who's worked in Pinellas County Schools for 33 years in the risk management and insurance as a benefits specialist. And recently, one of our employees wrote this about Ms. Hartman. It says, she understood my hesitance to make a life-changing decision for retirement. She was a master at lining up all the paperwork needing to make this change and all the departments involved. She provided detailed information for me to review so I would feel confident in my decisions. Along the way, as I became frustrated at different times, she was always there to help keep me calm and graciously guided me with expertise to complete the steps. I felt compelled to shine the light on her compassionate professionalism through her service as a benefits specialist. Thank you, Mrs. Hartman, and to all of our employees for the work they do each and every day. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Hendrick. Items introduced by the school board attorney.
I have no report today. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Items introduced by the board. Mrs. Edmond?
Thank you. I have a few items to share with the board and the public today. A few board meetings ago, there was a statement regarding controversial material objections forms being confidential. I confirmed with staff that that is inaccurate. Also, I have the opportunity to serve on the Pinellas Continuum of Care Task Force. And what continues to be a part of the discussion is the Florida anti-camping law set to take effect on October 1st. I'd like to acknowledge the district's participation in the task force and the overall Continuum of Care committee. We have students and staff who have been unhoused, and any additional efforts to support them is greatly appreciated. The minutes and information from the last meeting was shared a few weeks ago. I will be serving on the advocacy committee for the COC, and our first meeting will be this Friday, so I look forward to sharing with you the outcomes of that meeting. Superintendent Hendrick, you mentioned several things that I was going to talk about, which one is the conclusion of Summer Bridge, and I just want to express gratitude to the staff and who are working those camps and the staff who work year-round to make sure that our schools are ready for the next school year, as well as providing those enrichment opportunities for scholars throughout the summer. You are appreciated. And then he mentioned the recruitment and retention, but I just want to highlight that on June 27th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., a recruiter will be at PTC St. Pete. Thank you to the HR department working diligently to fill the positions with qualified staff prior to the start of school. Thank you.
Any other board reports? Thank you. I did want to mention, our board has had a lot of discussion around technology a whole range of discussion. Certainly the cell phone policy that we talked about a lot, but we also discuss kids' online safety when it comes to our PCS Connects program, and we've had some questions around that. Students bring their computers home for summer and are on them, and so one of the things I've already mentioned, but that I would like to request, as I went on, as a school board member, I have the opportunity to hear directly what we do when it comes to firewalls and online safety, and I have great confidence in our different levels of safety and on our particular network. But when they get home and they're on their home network, what changes? So as a parent, what do I need to be doing at home over the summer to ensure that online safety? And as I went onto our website and I dug down, and you can find in there where it is, but I would request that maybe we have something a little bit higher up, a little bit easier access for parents that says specifically, parental tips for kids' online safety or something along those lines, just so that it's easily findable. We can see in one places all the things that Pinellas County Schools takes this very seriously. Of course, you can put as many firewalls as you want. You get a smart kid, they're going to find their way around something, right? But we are doing that, and we take it very seriously. So I just want a really accessible link that parents can find for what they can be doing at home as well over the summer. Anything else? Any other comments? And I know I just made a request, but Mrs. Woodford, did you note any requests?
I did capture your request, and it is something we've discussed, so I'll follow up on that, and no other requests.
Thank you. With that, and seeing no other business, I adjourn this meeting, and we'll move to public participation. Mrs. Hauk, do we have any speakers today?
Yes, Madam Chair, board members, Mr. Hendrick, we have 4 speakers today.
Thank you. We're now receiving public comment on the general business of the district. Please note that the views and comments of the public speakers are their own, and they're not endorsed nor sponsored by the school board or district. We cannot ensure the accuracy of statements made, but will review concerns that are raised and take appropriate action, which may include clarifications or the referral of speakers to the proper staff member for assistance. The board is committed to a standard of civility and decorum in conducting our meetings. This includes refraining from clapping or making audible noises during or after a speaker's comments. We appreciate you assisting us in maintaining a civil and constructive environment. Additionally, please note that although board members or Superintendent Hendrick may leave the dais briefly, there are speakers in the back room, and we will continue to be able to hear your comments. Thank you. Mrs. Hauk?
Thank you. The first 2 speakers are David Childress and Mary Pecora.
Madam Chair, board members, Mr. Hendrick, staff, thank you for hearing me out. My name is David Childress. I'm retired Army National Guard and a substitute teacher in Pinellas County for almost 24 years now, off and on. A graduate of the University of Florida with a degree in food science and human nutrition. I was honored to speak in front of you last meeting wherein I discussed the ultra-processed food that our children are being served in the school system. I provided you with a series of menu items downloaded from that website, and I had in my own handwriting notated the number of ingredients in each item, highlighting seed oils, added starches, and sugar, most notably. I had intended on reading this entire letter that I wrote to you all, but I only got 3 minutes. So the point was I was honored to get a response back from, and it was a wonderful response. It was exactly what I had expected, outlining that the National School Lunch Program and the U.S. Department, USDA, is responsible for the guidelines that we all operate under. My intent in coming back and speaking to you again is to understand that somewhere along the lines, I signed up for one of the classes under www.wholekidsfoundation.org, Healthy Teachers Program. That was a wonderful program, but it focused mainly on produce and whole grains and fruits and vegetables. While I agree that is infinitely better than the processed food that our children are sometimes opening up in the school lunch, it is really not how we are intended to eat. Your doctor would ask you to maintain your blood sugar between 65 and 85 milligrams per deciliter. You cannot do that eating 3 times a day and snacking in between. We do have in the school system, and I adhere to it, a snack moment, you know, sometimes twice a day, depending on which class you go to. And you do that because those are the guidelines. But in my heart of hearts, having studied food science and human nutrition for as long as I have, know that that is not how we are designed to eat. Your digestive system is only 5.5 meters long. A cow's digestive system would be 45 meters long. That would be the animal that could handle this vegetation. Our pH in our stomach is 1.5 to 2. That is an acid pH. That is a carnivore, a top predator's pH stomach. A lion.
Mary Pecora.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mary Pecora. I have been a substitute teacher for the past year for Pinellas County. More importantly, I'm a mom of 2 that go to Garrison Jones. I stand before you today with a heavy heart as the chosen representative of infuriated and broken families. Yet I am resolute in my conviction to advocate for the well-being and the safety of our children. Excuse me. Over the past few weeks, I have spoken with numerous concerned parents who have either withdrawn their children from Garrison Jones Elementary or expressed grave dissatisfaction with how certain situations involving their children and bullying or sexual assault have been handled. These accounts have deeply troubled me and compelled many families and my own to call for immediate action. One particularly harrowing case involves a friend of mine's 8-year-old child who said he wanted to unalive himself due to trauma of alleged sexual and physical assaults by a fellow classmate in the lunchroom, at recess, and in the classroom bathroom daily. Disturbingly, this classmate allegedly assaulted several other 8-year-old children from the same class in the lunchroom daily as well. 2 victims, my son included, are now receiving mental health support what is most appalling is that these 8-year-old children reported the incidents repeatedly, only to be ignored by the teacher and the school administration. Alarmingly, it is reported that the school administration has shown a disturbing pattern of minimizing these incidents, with the guidance counselor calling sexual touches mere hits, not informing parents of incidents, and a teacher refused to allow the student to say bully. The affected student's requests for meeting to address these grave concerns were allegedly ignored, and the children's well-being was seemingly disregarded. In Florida, the in loco parentis doctrine established through the combination of state statutes and court precedences. The keys and laws regulations include Florida statutes, Title 9, Chapter 1003 Public K through 12 Education, Section 1003.32 students subject to control of school, which grants students authority to control and discipline students while they are under the supervision of the school. Okay, I'm going to have to pass some of this because I'm running out of time. But I will email each one of you this. Okay. I ask you as a parent of as I asked the principal of Garrison Jones, do you think there was enough supervision in the lunchroom all year long? Her answer was, and I quote, "I think there was adequate supervision and I would not change anything." This response and a safety plan where my child would be singled out and isolated was all that we were offered. Why do children, the victims, have to be removed, isolated, and blamed for acting out when they are being the ones bullied, harassed, and...
Ask Dr. Gonzalez if you'll talk to Ms. Pecora. Thank you.
Thank you. The next 2 speakers are Bren Apple and Brant Robinson.
Good morning, board members. How are you today? I'm here on behalf of to bring back banned books. When you ban books, you take away someone's freedom of expression, when you ban books, you eradicate important pieces of history that go unrecognized, unheard of. And when you ban books, you take away someone's message. And there were just many, such as To Kill a Mockingbird, written by Harper Lee, that tells the harsh realities that POC face day in and day out. This book is Gay, written by Juno Dawson, that communicates the importance of LGBTQIA plus sexual education, as well as safety and communication with safe-sex relationships. The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood, that highlights reproductive freedom and independence over bodily autonomy. Atwood actually took cases nationwide and took bits and pieces and made them into Gilead, which is the book of the Bible itself. These books were not just banned, these books were silenced. Every time you take a piece of historical literature that expands the minds of many and you add them to your list, you are silencing and eradicating history. No matter fiction, nonfiction, autobiography, or biography, each one had an important moral or message to them. That's what we are lacking here when you decide to silence a story. Morals. You are taking away someone's voice. Thank you for your time, board members.
Good evening. Sorry. Am I here in the evening? Gosh, I am on summer break. You know, I am so disconnected. My apologies. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Hendrick, and staff. My name is Brant Robinson, and always, you know, it's my honor and my pleasure to be here with you today. Even though it's my summer break, I am looking forward to starting my 28th year, 27 of them here in Pinellas County Schools. I hope we'll reflect just for a second on the immense experience and the immense commitment and the immense integrity of all who are gathered here today. It's always my honor to address you. I'm actually going to be starting at a brand new school after 26 years at Dunedin High School. I'm going to be starting at Pinellas High Innovation. It's as if I scripted this job description for myself. I've never been so excited to go back to school. But for now, I just want to encourage you as a board to develop a process by which all of the district seniors in high school across our district, all of our seniors actually have the opportunity to register to vote, ideally in their American government classes, and ideally using organizations like the League of Women Voters, who have a long and proud tradition of nonpartisan commitment to our democracy. We have a lot to be proud of in this district. If we think about the last 4 or 5 decades, just the changes in the curriculum standards for our district are something we should all be incredibly proud of, and they reflect the commitment we have to not only teaching and learning from the immense history that we've been through as American citizens, but of course the structure and function of our government. We're proud that our students have to take civics in 7th grade. We're proud they have to take American government in 12th grade. But I think if we just reflect on all we've experienced and been through in the last few years, the divisiveness, the bitterness, you know, we're here because we believe in transcending that with dialogue and discourse. And I think it's important that our seniors actually experience participatory democracy and that it be modeled for them, that there's a degree of nonpartisanship involved. I think if I were a senior looking back on my high school career, I'd like to think that, hey, I was registered to vote in my high school classroom by an organization who exists for nonpartisanship in the defense of our democracy. So I want to urge you to consider developing that process for our seniors. And again, I want to remind all of us to be incredibly proud of what we do because, you know, our public schools really are the foundation of our democracy. And thank you all for everything you do. Be well.
There are no more speakers.
Thank you. That concludes our meetings today. Board members will take 30 minutes before we start the board workshop. So let's see, it's about 11:05 if my vision serves me well. So about 11:35 we'll commence the board workshop. See you upstairs.